Welcome back to MarkOneModels. Have you ever had the idea to recreate something from your childhood? Have you ever thought about doing that while putting your own spin on it? If so, stick around because today we're looking in on the Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine reimagined as Suby-Doo. Please make sure to stick around to the end because there may be snacks. So a bit of a backstory first. I grew up watching the original Scooby-Doo series in the 70s as a kid, and obviously it stuck with me. I even dressed as Shaggy as part of a group costume for Halloween one year. But somewhere in the early 2000s, the idea came into my head to create Suby-Doo, a Subaru-based mystery machine. I figured that I'd try to find the largest body Subaru kit and go from there. In that search, I found the Fujimi Subaru Legacy Touring Wagon version B with BBS wheels. It was big enough and sporty and had two different rear wing versions, of which I chose to go with the more aggressive one. It also had the option to add in a panoramic sunroof, so I cut that hole in right away. At the time, I also had an actual Mystery Machine kit from Polar Lights, so I figured I'd check how well the stickers matched up to the size of the Subaru body. They weren't close, so I knew I'd be making my own decals. I also knew that the license plates would have to read Suby-Doo. Life got busy, and this went on the back burner. Fast forward to now. In my last video, I mentioned I'd injured my finger and I was not working on more challenging builds while it heals. This one again popped in my head as one that I could get done, so I started in earnest on it finally. I went over to Time Machine Hobby and picked up the paints I would need. Tamiya Colors TS41 Coral Blue, TS22 Light Green, TS31 Bright Orange, and for the interior, TS81 Royal Light Gray. As an FYI, they have a huge selection of all things hobby: trains, RC cars, slot cars, games, model kits, and supplies. And their second floor is dedicated to just train layouts that they run twice a month. You should check them out sometime. I'll provide the link in the description. I knew I was going to paint over the glass for the storage area and rear doors, so I installed those right away. I put everything into primer and then started on the coral blue paint. When that dried, I masked everything so I could get my interior done to match the gray interior of the original Mystery Machine and sprayed that tub with the Royal Light Gray. The actual Mystery Machine has those green wheels with orange flowers on them, so for my BBS wheels, the outer hoops would be the green and the spokes would get the bright orange treatment. The Mystery Machine had a spare tire on the front with a cover matching that green-orange flower pattern, and I opted to make the Subaru grille green and the badge location on it in orange. I also chose to paint the intake on the hood in orange to tie in to the theme. We'll get back to the build in just a moment, but I wanted to take a moment to remind you that if you like these videos, feel free to give a like and subscribe and share with your friends. Don't forget to make sure your notifications are turned on so you won't miss an episode. You can also follow along on our Facebook, Instagram, and Threads pages, and you can find those on the links in the homepage. Now let's get back to the build. For the elaborate flowery green paint job on the Mystery Machine, the Polar Lights kit had as a sticker. Originally, I thought about doing decals for that and then started making templates with masking tape. Ultimately, I decided the decals would be too much of a hassle, so I just masked the body and used the light green paint. My template was on a paper backing, and I traced it over wider masking tape where one side, then flipped it upside down to make the other side of the car. I did this both for the lower body and for the upper panel where the words would live. My masks worked out pretty well. For the back of the car, it made sense to follow the taillight lines and only paint the green onto the hatch. For the front of the car, that really wouldn't flow, so I had the green dip down onto the bumper and become a stripe across the flat portion beneath the grille and above the fog lights. For the flowers and lettering, I wanted to paint those, but this would have been too labor intensive for me, so I chose to make them as decals. I tried using the clear decals so there'd be no white background, but the green bled through the orange too easily, so I ended up having to use the white decal paper instead. I didn't feel I'd be successful in cutting out all the white spacing between the letters, so I opted for a close-cut white border for my lettering. It's not accurate, but it still looks very good. With all the exterior paints done, everything received 2 coats of Tester's Extreme Lacquer Clear. With the interior, I was going to use accent colors where appropriate to match trim work for this model year legacy. The kit does include decals for the dash cluster, Momo logo on the steering wheel, and the gate markings for the automatic shifter. The gauge cluster decal broke, but it is mostly there and semi-difficult to see anyway, so I'll live with that. As this interior is fairly plain, I wanted to tie it in more to the theme of the car. So, Scooby Snacks. I looked online and found that someone had a template for making the Scooby Snacks box from the original series. I printed out several of these and used white glue on the first one, and it was fairly fragile and easy to crush. That'd be okay for an empty box, but not really so much for the rest. So I cut some cardboard stock to act as a filler for the remaining boxes as I built them. I scattered them around the interior so Shaggy and Scooby wouldn't go hungry. For the underside, the kit goes together nicely and the front wheels are posable. I researched what the bottom of a Legacy would look like so I could paint in heat shields and so on. I also decided that since this was the touring wagon on VBS wheels, that the brake calipers and suspension should also look the part of a sporty car. Red calipers, yellow shocks and struts, and shiny black springs will complete the look. Some final touches would include masking and painting the front windshield to have that black edging that modern cars have, steel tail painting the rear taillight panel from the inside, painting up the headlight assemblies, and chrome painting the mirrors and the roof rails. I'd mentioned I wanted the license plates to say Suby-Doo, so I looked up where the show takes place. The original series was based in Coolsville, Ohio, and modern remakes have it taking place in Coolsville, California. I chose to go with the Ohio plates, specifically ones issued at the time the show would have aired, so the plates would have been transferred from the old van upon its retirement to the Subaru. I made those on the Acme license maker website, which is super easy to use and has a lot of options for every state. I think the finished car looks great. It's almost exactly how I had pictured it in my head. What do you think? Would you have gone with a different Subaru? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. Shaggy and Scooby certainly seemed to approve and took it out on the road to visit Old Man Jenkins' house to check out some mysterious happenings. Thank you for watching MarkOneModels.